Alright, hello to anyone out there who may be watching this. Whoever you are, wherever you're watching this, whenever you're watching it, thank you so much for taking the time to click on the video. Um, so, I'm not exactly sure what the title of this video is going to be, but what I want to do here is propose the idea that the makers of the movie Shrek, so the first Shrek movie, which came out in 2001, that the makers of that movie completely copied the characters from the 1996 film Hunchback of Notre Dame. And this is something that no one said to me before or that I like read online or anything. This is just completely something that I've observed, and I think it's very weird how similar the characters are in those movies when you really think about it. And I mean, to put it nicely, maybe the makers of Shrek were just inspired by the characters from Hunchback, but it's pretty weird how similar those characters are. So I'm going to break down a few of them just to kind of point out those similarities to support my point. So obviously the main character in Hunchback is Quasimodo, and the main character in Shrek is Shrek, obviously. And the similarity between these characters is that they are both deemed hideous by society, and by like societal terms, basically just because of the way that they look um, in both stories. And obviously the main difference is with Shrek. Shrek wants to stay like away from everyone else, and he just wants to be left alone in his swamp. Whereas Quasimodo doesn't want to be alone; he wants to get out there in the world. So that is the difference. But I think it is interesting that both characters are deemed like hideous by society, and each of them has like a setting that they're kind of being put away from the rest of the world by. With Shrek, it's his swamp. With Quasimodo, it's the bell tower of Notre Dame. And then another character that is similar in both movies, you have Princess Fiona in Shrek and Esmeralda in Hunchback. Obviously, the similarities is they're both the main female character in the story, and they're both the love interest for the main character in both stories. So I guess that's just like the main similarities between them. I'm sure if you were to break it down, you could probably find some others, but and also let me just say real quick, if you see me looking over here, it's because I have the Wikipedia page pulled up for Hunchback because I haven't seen that movie in like 10 or more years, so I need a checkup on who the characters are and stuff. So those are two characters, and then another character that's similar in both movies. You have the villain, Lord Farquaad in Shrek, and Frollo in Hunchback. And the similarity between these characters, again, they're both the villain, but they both, in a way, kind of lust for the main female character, and it's pretty obvious to see that in Hunchback, with the whole Hellfire song and Frollo singing to the image of Esmeralda in the fireplace. And then there is, I just looked it up before doing this video, there's the scene in Shrek where it's hinted at that Lord Farquaad has like some sort of lust for Fiona, when he's like laying in bed, and he keeps telling the magic mirror on the wall, to show him the princess over and over, and then there's the little implied part after that. So that's kind of weird that they're both similar in those ways. And then, so that's three characters. I can keep going. For the fourth one, you have Thelonious in Shrek, who I think is similar to Captain Phoebus. I think his name is pronounced Phoebus. Again, I haven't seen Hunchback in a long time, but you have Thelonious and Shrek being very similar to Phoebus from Hunchback. They're both the right-hand men for the villain in both respective stories, and they're both they both lack a lot of common sense and are both a little bit of comedic relief in kind of not being too smart and making dumb decisions. And then both of these characters, they assist the main villain, but they're both, I would say, pretty good-hearted people. They're just like misguided, and you see that a lot in movies. So that's a fourth character where there's similarities between. Fifth character you have in Shrek, Mizyorhood. I think that's how you pronounce it. And Clopin or Clopin from Hunchback of Notre Dame. Clopin is like the puppeteer, jester-looking guy. And just based on looks, he looks a lot like Mizyorhood from Shrek. And they're both kind of main characters in the story, but they're both kind of not like in the top three main characters. Like they're a little bit off to the side in the movie. And just based on looks, I mean, Clopin looks a lot like Mizyorhood from what I remember. And they both kind of look like jester, like goofy kind of characters. So that's a similarity between them. And then the last comparison that I'll make is in Shrek you have Donkey, who I would argue is a combined mixture of the gargoyles from Hunchback in terms of like comedic relief and assisting the main character. The gargoyles assist Quasimodo just for like emotional support, and they're kind of like his friends in the same way that Donkey is like a friend for Shrek and wants to help him out. So that's the similarity, but I would say Donkey is kind of a cross between those gargoyles and Esmeralda's goat, which I think is kind of funny. Obviously, Donkey, in terms of looks like the goat, and then the gargoyles provide comedic relief in the same way that Donkey provides comedic relief. And I mean, these are just some similarities that I've noticed between the characters in both movies. And again, I think it's just really weird how similar these characters are. Obviously, there's like setting or like kind of like theme similarities between both movies with like, both. Like in Shrek, it's kind of medieval themes, like with the castle and Lord Farquaad and stuff. And in Shrek, according to Wikipedia, it takes place in like 1482, which is like medieval time. Well, I guess kind of medieval times, several centuries ago. So yeah, I think there is a lot of similarities between these movies, and I would not be surprised if the makers of Shrek were heavily inspired by the movie of Hunchback, and in a way kind of copied the characters for the sake of their own story. So yeah, that's basically it for this video. I just kind of wanted to put that idea out there, propose it. Let me know if you agree or disagree, or if you think I'm just crazy for coming up with this idea. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope everyone who is watching this is doing well. Have a great day, have a great week, have a great month, have a great year, have a great life. Live, be happy, and yeah, take care, and see you in the next video. Alright, peace.